Look at those water fountains in there. I love this park. I don't live in Coos Bay. I live in Florence, Oregon. I love those water fountains. I'd come here every day if I lived in Coos Bay. If I lived in Coos Bay, I'd be here 5 days a week, every week of the year. That would be my exercise routine. And if I lived within a couple miles of it, I'd ride a bike down there as a way for me to get exercise every day. That's what most of those people do. They use that park to walk around it 5 or 6 times and get their walking in for, you know, the day or the week or whatever. I wish the world was full of places like Mingus Park. Look at this house, cool. Look at that, used to be a barn, look. You can tell that used to be an old barn. You can usually tell by the roofs and the windows the way they are and stuff. So like this might have been a barn back in the day. The way people made houses, you know, 60, 70 years ago were so much better than the ones being built today. That big, we live in basic mansions today. You know, 3,000 square foot houses, 4,000 square foot houses. People used to live in 1,000 square foot houses. That's why you have to pay so much for your house today. Because you want a ridiculous amount of house. You want every child to have a bedroom, you want a master bathroom, you want another 1.5 baths in the house, you want a 2-car garage. You want a front yard, a backyard. You want old growth trees in the backyard. You want a greenhouse, a kitchen, a basement. I mean, you haven't even moved in yet and you're already broke for 30 years. Then you want internet, TV, subscription, stereo, 5 cell phones in your house, 3 TVs, video games for hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, 2 brand new cars, credit cards, 5 closets full of clothing, microwave, coffee maker, air fryer, oven, toaster oven, and then you want a barbecue pit in the backyard. Then you want a barbecue grill from Walmart or the Home Depot store for $800. And then you get up on Monday morning and start screaming, "Ah! Why am I suffering so much?" See this little green house? Look at both those. That's the house Americans used to live in. Now that's the house they want to live in. That little green house was the average house 60 to 70 years ago. And you had a family of 5, 6, 7 people, and you were perfectly happy with 2 bedrooms. You just put all the kids in one room and told them to keep their damn mouth shut, or you're going to go in there and shut it for them. And that's how it was back then. The little blue house, that's how people used to live. The house next to it, that's how people used to live. This little square house, that's how people used to live. That greenhouse, that's kind of a big house, and upstairs. That's why people were able to live cheaper back then. Because they didn't buy as much. Look at this tiny little house. And it's for sale. Someone raised an entire family in there for the last 60 years. And it's for sale. You say, oh no, I need a garage. I don't want on-street parking. I don't want this. I don't want that. Well, every time you say what you don't want or what you do want, your payment goes up an extra $100 a month. So every time you want 10 things, well, your payment went from $1,000 a month to $2,000 a month. And that's why Americans are broke. Same with a car. I don't want a 1990, Dodge van in mint condition. You could buy one for $15,000 in mint condition. No, I want a 2025 computerized automatic brakes. I want everything. I want a big screen on it. I want screens for my kids to watch movies in the back. I want all the safety features and on and on and on. So your payment goes from $250 a month. Now it's $750 a month is the average brand new car payment. And $550 a month is the average used car payment. So every time you want something, get ready to suffer. Those $100 bills add up every month. $100 is still a lot of money in America, especially when you start adding it to the payments you owe. And that's what Americans are doing. They never stop adding it on. There are people out there, a large percentage of Americans, they have so many payments, they finally have to stop and just sit at their house on the weekend. They can't even leave until they get like another $20,000 paid off. And it still won't make them debt-free. You see these guys ride around in these big, huge mammoth trucks. I got one's probably going to pass me here. I'm going to let him pass me so I show you. They all want to be first. Everybody wants to be first. I want my truck to be bigger than your truck. This is actually one of the smaller ones. But that truck cost $75,000. They say, oh no, it never. I got it for $69,000. I only paid $69,000. Gee, that's all. Just 7-year loan, $69,000. Well, now they're going to 8-year loans on automobiles. They're going to 8-year automobile loans. Look at this woman homeless just sitting in the dirt. I saw another woman back at the store back there, sitting with a wagon pulling all her belongings. This guy's homeless right here. There was a woman homeless in the dirt. You see, what happens is people give up. People just give up. They say, I can't afford the American dream. They go outside, they start drinking, doing drugs, and they're done. They say, nope, I'm done. I don't want to do it. But the middle class in this country is not drowning in lack of wages. You're drowning in excessive debt. The middle class makes close to, two people working make close to $100,000 a year. Well, you make like $79,000 a year, only working 40 hours a week, you and your spouse. Well, no, two people make $100,000 a year. That's what it was. You make $100,000 a year and you're unhappy and you're drowning in debt. That's because your unhappiness, you want to be happy. I understand that. Everybody wants to be happy. But you stop talking to God, you stop taking care of your family, and now you're thinking about quitting your job. You can't take it anymore. I'm going to stop working. And that is the three things that are killing America. No God, no family, and no work. You don't want to work. You want a $150,000 a year lifestyle on only 40 hours a week with no special skills. Well, 60% of Americans work at jobs like cashiering under $20 an hour. So what does that tell you what's happening to America? And it's not just financial, it's mostly the happiness factor, the happiness level. Americans are not happy anymore. I mean, look at all these cars going by. 30,000, 20,000, 22,000, 13,000, 80,000 with the trailer, 60,000, 35,000. Is anybody happy? Very few people are happy. Happiness is something you can only receive from God, Jesus Christ, or the Holy Spirit by following God's Son, Jesus Christ. Happiness is something, you know, when you're happy, you can go out in a field and just stand next to a tree all day and be perfectly fine and happy and content and thankful and enjoy your whole day just with a blanket on the ground and maybe a picnic basket. When you have to try to find happiness through a $400,000 house, a $50,000 car, an $80,000 truck, a $19,000 jacuzzi, so busted. That guy just got caught going like 75, 80 miles an hour. I bet he's not happy now when he gets that ticket. He's going to get a $250 speeding ticket. It was right here where the lanes merged together. And it's funny, even though the people behind me saw the policeman pulling people over, they still want to go fast. See, I'm doing 55 right now. So do you think that the highway patrol pulling people over would stop these people? No. He still wants to go over the speed limit. Here's another one. Just saw the policeman. But I'm going to go. The policeman's busy, so now I can go over the speed limit. Wow. That's what I'm saying. Americans are not happy. And this is the most amount of debt the average American has been in the history of all of America. You're making a husband and wife making $100,000 a year, and you're completely tapped out and flat broke. They said 60% of Americans have no money in the bank. No 401k, no savings, no money. 60% have zero savings. Now check this out. If I have, say, $5,000, I'm going to end the video with this. If I have, and I'm saying all these things to help you and motivate you to stop living this way. Now, I know nobody's going to listen. I mean, obviously. You didn't listen the first 10 or 12 times they told you, so. Now, here's how sad America is now. If I have $3,000, let's say $5,000. If I have $5,000 cash in a savings account and just getting like 1% interest, it doesn't matter. If I have $5,000 cash in a savings account, I am now richer than 55% of Americans. So if I have $5,000, I am in the top 45% richest people in the world, because Americans are the richest people in the world. So if I just had, now I want you to grasp this with your brain and your heart. If you could save $5,000 and not touch it and leave it in the bank, which anybody should be able to do within 12 months, you will be in the top, and you're debt free, okay? You got to be 100% debt free. Otherwise, it's just a wash. If you owe $300,000 but you have $5,000, that doesn't mean you're rich. No. If you're debt free and you have $5,000 in the bank, you are in the top 45% of richest people on planet Earth. Okay, let's go to the next one. If you have, I've looked all this stuff up many, many times. If you have $10,000 and you're debt free, cash in the bank, that's it. No 401ks, no investment, just $10,000 cash available to you. And you're debt free, whether you own a house or don't own a house, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you own a house and you're debt free, well, then you're worth a lot more. You should sell the house and put the money in the bank and live in an apartment. So, if you have $10,000 saved, that puts you in the top 35% of richest people in America. That's the base from $10,000 up. Okay, now hang on. I've looked it up. If you have $25,000, there are only 29 or 30% of Americans are debt free and have $25,000 cash in a bank, which makes you in the top 20 or 30% richest people in the world. Okay, now let's go up to $50,000. If you have $50,000 and you're 100% debt free, no payments, only 24% of Americans are in that position. 50,000 debt free, only 24% of Americans, which makes the whole world. That means you're in the top 25% of richest people in the world. Now, most of the people have more, in that group, have way more than $50,000. But what I'm saying is, if you have $50,000 and you're 100% debt free, you are in a better position. And this is the saddest thing I never thought I'd say out loud in my lifetime. You are in a better financial position than 75% of all Americans. So if you have a house that is worth $300,000 and it's paid off, you are in like a group of 12% of the richest people in the world. You see that guy on that bicycle looking for cans? He's not homeless. He does this all the time. He lives around here somewhere. If that guy's retired on Social Security and he has $50,000 in the bank and he's 100% debt-free, living in a little bitty trailer for $800 a month, you know, for the lot rent, the rent, he's in a better position than 25% of all other Americans. Now, one of the reasons, and I'm going to end this, one of the reasons that happened was when the value of houses went up, like before COVID, before the COVID virus, the average house was $250,000. Now today, the average house is $440,000. So what did people do? Did they keep the equity? No, they never. They went down and borrowed $100,000 on their equity at the bank and added $100,000 to their loan. And they had all their loans put together back into one loan, and then they threw their car payments in on that loan, the balances on their cars. And now they put all their debt together plus the extra. It was $97,000 was the number. The average American pulled $97,000 of equity out of their thing, and now whatever their payments were before, with everything getting added and put together like that and pulling out the extra money, but they only did that for like a 20-year loan or maybe only a 15-year loan. Their payments went up an average of $700 a month now. So, you know, it appears it's like a shell game. Find the pea under the shell, the walnut shell. It appears that you're much better off because you only have one payment to your bank every month. But it's $700 a month more than you were paying before with everything separate payments. Because you pulled out the $97,000. And so now you just conked yourself over the head. Because that 97, so 100,000 pulled out with interest over 15 or 20 years is 130,000. I'm telling you, the hillbilly guy, Billy Bob the hillbilly, let's just say him, and his girlfriend, Betty Sue, Billy Bob the hillbilly and Betty Sue, in a paid-off $5,000 four-wheel drive, going out to the lake on the weekend fishing, completely debt-free, with $5,000 in the bank. That guy is better off than 65% of all Americans, because that puts him in the top 35% of Americans. I saw a street interview of a guy. He was interviewing these young people on the street, asking, it was a financial interview. And he says, you know, he was a pretty famous financial guy. Can you tell me about your debt? And they said, I don't have any debt. I'm young, I have no debt. This girl says, she was like 27 years old. And he says, do you have a car payment? She goes, well, yeah, I have a car payment, but that's not debt. That's a payment. Wow. Okay. She has a $600 a month, like, BMW payment. She said, it's not debt, it's a payment. And he said, no, payments are debt. You owe debt on the balance. And she looked at him, 27 years old, and said, what do you mean the balance? What does that mean? The amount of money you still owe left on the car. She said, I thought I just owed $600 or $700 a month plus insurance until I go trade the car back in. It's just a payment. She said, I don't think you know what you're talking about, to the guy. And he goes, well, I'm here to tell you I'm kind of good at what I do. The balance on your loan is considered debt. Now there's a nice $5,000 perfectly good car. And brand new, that diesel truck right there would cost $98,000 brand new today. Maybe even $112,000. It was a dually diesel. So one person's driving a $6,000 really nice little Subaru station wagon, living debt-free, happy, 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 just going 5 miles an hour less. The other guy, maybe a few years ago, paid $90,000 for that truck. He probably paid cash because he was older than me, probably just had the cash at Social Security when he retired or whatever. I mean savings when he retired. He probably just went down and bought a $100,000 pickup. Or he might have bought it and rolled it into his house before it was paid off. But that, you see, the little tiny $6,000 Subaru there is going to make you a lot happier. Well, let me say this. There's another guy on a bicycle. That was an electric bike. Good for him. Let me say this to encourage you. I want to encourage someone out there. Someone's got to be listening. If you've never lived debt-free before, you have no idea how good it is. I praise God every day. I live 100% debt-free. The only payment I have is my rent, cell phone. But my cell phone was free. I got a free cell phone. I mean, it's a nice phone. I mean, you see all the videos I put up. It's a good phone. So I get a free phone, and the monthly service charge, which I cancel anytime I want. I don't owe them anything except if I want to go another month, which, you know, in today's society, you kind of have a phone. I got the monthly electric bill, my auto insurance, and then food and gas. That's it. My wife and I can live on, if we really pushed it, $1,600 a month. You don't know very many people in this world that can live next to the ocean on $1,600 a month for two people. But that's how we've lived since the day we were married. We lived on $1,000. We've been married 41 years. We lived on $1,000 a month for the first 20 years of our marriage. Before the coronavirus, the pandemic hit, we were living on $1,300 a month. Just 6 years ago. By the grace of God. And yes, I pay rent. I pay a rent fee every month. And in the last 6 years, because of inflation, not because of COVID, because of inflation, Our expenses have gone up about $300 a month in 6 years. That's why we went from $1,300 to $1,600. And I'm going to tell you, if you've never done it, you don't understand what real, true financial freedom is. You don't even have a house payment. You pay some rent. Let's say you pay $1,200 a month because you live in a big city. I live in a small town, so I pay less than that. Then you got $50 for a phone, just one phone. My wife doesn't have a phone. My auto insurance, believe it or not, because I'm retired and I don't get tickets, obviously. Most old people don't get tickets like that. My auto insurance is like $40 a month. $40 a month. My electric bill before COVID was $45 a month. Now, after 6 years later, it's $60 a month. My electric bill is $60 a month. I just talked to my friend. He's got a 2-bedroom and a daughter and a big TV. I don't own a TV. He pays $125 a month for electric. I started laughing. He's a good friend of mine. He goes, "Why? How much you pay?" I said, $60 a month. He goes, "Boing! What? How in the hell do you do that, man?" I said, "Well, I don't have a washer and dryer. I don't have in your place, I don't have a TV. I don't have a daughter. I don't have a wife that cooks most of the day like you do." He goes, "Yeah, right." He just shrugged his shoulders and said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And they need like 2 phones, so he pays $100 a month for 2 phones. So I'm in Winchester Bay now, Winchester Bay, Oregon. So if you've never, ever been 100% debt-free, you just don't know what freedom is. And I'll leave you with that thought right there. Hopefully, it will motivate you to become completely debt-free and get the life you were meant to live. Because it's a whole different world, waking up every day and there's no debt on your back. I told my wife, I said, if worse comes to worse, and the whole world collapses and we're standing outside in the back of a 1975 Chevy pickup with a topper, we'll be 100% debt-free, and we can just make enough money to survive and live. And we won't lose anything. Everybody else will start losing everything. And they'll start being charged all the debt, plus the interest, plus the late fees, plus the collection fees. Once you're debt-free, nobody has that power over you anymore. The bank doesn't own you. And I'm telling you, how much is that worth to you?